the Brasília Declaration. The participants of the International Conference on New Approaches to Engineering for the Sustainable Supply of Water and Energy, meeting in Brasília in July 2016, agreed to and decided to issue this declaration. Whereas the sustainable use of the planet's natural resources is essential to ensuring the maintenance or enhancement of the society's quality of life, whereas climate change has been causing unprecedented situations for the replenishment of water resources in large urban conglomerates and great number of island nations. Whereas the global phenomenon of urbanization is an irreversible process that generates demands for energy and water whose supply requires access to sources increasingly distant from consumption sites. Whereas new and existing technologies combined with improved processes will allow proper implementation of the necessary measures to ensure the sustainability of water and energy use, and whereas the implementation of sustainable solutions in the supply of water and energy must take into account local and regional needs and priorities, as well as existing cultural conditions and human and financial capacities. Whereas the generation of energy through the combustion of fossil fuels must be drastically reduced, and in order to reach the targets of the Paris Agreement on climate change, be replaced by clean sources with almost zero emission of greenhouse gases. Whereas energy policies of each country will have to facilitate the replacement of fossil fuels in electricity generation by any other technology that emits much smaller amounts of gases, greenhouse gases. The entire energy supply cycle, generation, transmission, distribution, and use must be considered in meeting the objectives of the Paris Agreement, along with the selection of primary energy sources and renewable sources, as well as the improvement of the efficiency in use and transmission, and the analysis of the environmental and economic consequences. Whereas the Paris Agreement points to the important role of providing incentives to activities that generate emission reduction, including tools such as setting a price on emitted carbon, as well as the introduction of so-called externalities in the economic comparison of clean energy production. We, the participants, state that to ensure the successful implementation of sustainable supply programs of energy, drinking water, and wastewater treatment systems, policies based on factual evidence, scientific knowledge, and state-of-the-art of technology and engineering criteria on technical and economic feasibility should be established independently of ideological postulates. We state also that engineers are qualified to substantiate the implementation of solutions that help ensure the society's quality of life in exercising their profession, particularly in the areas of sustainable water supply through the design and implementation of systems for the efficient and diversified use of water resources, including use of groundwater, wastewater, effluents, desalination, and rainwater collection, through the management of water resources, conservation processes, through balanced distribution among multiple users in various available ecosystems, through improving the efficiency and availability of irrigation and water use management practices, particularly in the areas of sanitation and sewage management through the improvement of technical training in local institutions for research and development, and the training of technical staff in local governments for the integrated management of waste and sewage, through the establishment of careful management for waste and of human origin, for the concentration, collection, and treatment of sewage, and for its reduction, recycling, reuse, recovery, and disposal, through the provision of technical assistance and personnel training for the separation, collection, treatment, and disposal of waste, as well as establishment of storage sites, development of public health policies, enactment of legal provisions, programs, and infrastructure for waste and sewage. In the areas of sustainable energy supply, through the use of all clean energy sources that are available or in an advanced stage of development, including technologies that help reduce energy demand, such as those that, even with not necessarily insignificant costs, increase the efficiency in transmission and end use, through the implementation of systems using suitable renewable energy, including biofuels, and through the improvement of the clean technology economy, such as photovoltaics and biofuels from cellulose materials, as well as the development of efficient systems for carbon sequestration in the combustion of fossil fuels. The considerable reduction in the use of fossil fuels will introduce different approaches in the planning and the engineering of power generation units and the transmission lines through greater use of clean energy sources such as solar, hydroelectric, wind, nuclear, geothermal, and tidal power, or through neutral sources such as biofuels, introducing new paradigms in location conditions and mix of projects to ensure system stability, as well as to analyze their technical, economic, and environmental viability. The transition to economies of low carbon emissions in transport, aimed at replacing unsustainable systems of energy consumption, will result in important cultural transformations and social adjustments that are going to be difficult to implement. Done in Brasília, July 29th, 2016. This is signed by the representatives of the 4 organized institutions. For UPADI, Edemar de Souza Amorim; for FEBRAE, Celso Turner Leal; for Confea President José Tadeu da Silva; and from WFEO, myself. Thank you very much.